There you go, Ashley. You are now the presenter, and welcome.
Great, thank you. And welcome everybody. I'm glad to see everybody here again. Give me just a moment. I'm going to share my screen. Can everybody hear me okay?
Loud and clear.
Okay. Okay, we're going to, and you said we're probably going to have about 15 minutes more?
Yes, you're going to have 15 minutes. And just again, everybody, if you have to leave at 12:30, we completely understand. You're still going to get an hour, but if you want to stay an extra 15 minutes, we will go until 12:45.
Okay, great. Okay, so this is part 2 of Actively Think, Actively Read, then POW, Actively Learn. My slide's not moving. Hold on. Okay. Before we start, we want you really as an audience to focus on an essential question. And that question is, how does Actively Learn help adult students learn how to critically comprehend what they read? So be thinking about that question as we go through this session. Our objectives today, by the end of this session, you will understand how to make an account, find pre-made lessons, create classes and assign lessons, and create and upload your own lessons. But before we get started, we are going to ask you a couple questions, and please enter your answers in the chat box. The first question is, and I do see that there are some new faces this time, but the first question is, what is your role in adult education? And you can go ahead and type your answers in the chat pod, and I believe Anne-Marie will read those off for me.
Yes, I will.
Thank you.
So we have high school equivalency instructors, ESL instructor. We have an educational assistant, a PD program coordinator. Welcome, Mauro. Nice to see you in here. Okay, everybody. What about everybody else? ESL instructor, Mary Francis. Hortensia is an ESL aide. Kelly Meeks, hi. Kelly, I said hi, but hi again. She's a transitions coordinator, career navigator. And Robert is an instructional aide, is here too. ESL aide, very good. Oh, and if I did forget to mention too, I'm going to just jump in here. If you have colleagues sitting next to you that did not register and are not logged in to the webinar, you need to let me know in the chat pod who they are, or email me, preferably is better, to my email, and I'll put my email in the chat pod. So I need to know who's sitting with you so that they can get credit if you've got other colleagues. Okay, so then we've got a couple career pathway coordinators and instructional coach, Janet. Okay, so we've got a huge mix.
Yes, this is awesome. We have a large variety, so that's fantastic, because I really think that this could be used for a little bit of everybody. Just depends on how you want to do it. Our second question then is, really okay, did you attend part 1? We already answered that, I think, but if you did attend, did you use Actively Learn since the last session? And if you did, could you just share some brief thoughts with us about what you thought about the program?
Nothing has come in.
Nothing
has come in.
It was just silent, so I got nervous.
Sorry. I was reading. I know. I was reading. I did have one. We wish we could have hold music or something, guys. Gareth says, I used to help teach a modest proposal. I found good one and added extra questions to cover things I really wanted the students to focus on. Also added more notes. Okay. And then Raynell said, I missed the first part on how to create the account, which is pretty easy, right?
Yeah, we're going to do that today.
Okay, so Raynell, stand by. You're going to learn. She says thanks. Okay. Oh, Janet, yes, I used it and shared it with my students. We all thought it was very helpful. They valued the hearing and the defining tools. Awesome. Goodness, I can't read. And then Hortensia says she attended part 1, so that's good. Okay. Let's keep going.
All right. And our final question is, what challenges do you face with teaching adult students how to think and read critically?
And I'll read them as they come in. So
Okay.
let's see here. Everyone's busy typing. Okay, that's interesting. So Robert says language gap.
Hmm.
Mm-hmm. Language gap is real. That's right. How about a gap in reading level?
Mm-hmm.
How about the huge gaps you may have in ability in your classroom? Is anyone having that difficulty? Okay. Okay, so we got a lot of yeses. Morrow, this is excellent. Building content vocabulary for understanding and classroom discussions. Excellent. That's a very good point. And Shara Crawford says, I find students read words without thinking about the meaning of what they are reading.
Absolutely.
And I bet they skip around a lot, don't they, Shara? I bet they bounce all over the place, and then they still don't understand what they read. So, very good. Kelly says, understanding the text for medical IET class.
Oh,
Time. Okay, very good. All right, Ashley.
Okay. Yeah, I think we all have similar struggles with this, of course, and that's always been a challenge for me as a teacher, especially in the beginning, because I didn't understand how to teach reading. But through the years and through different, training sessions, there's been, I've learned, but this tool has really provided me with a lot of help in getting those reading skills tuned a little bit better. Okay, so what we're going to do, especially since we have quite a few new people here, is we're going to do a review of our last session. So the first part, we're going to go through just an overview of Actively Learn. So Actively Learn is a digital reading platform that helps teachers activate, support, and reveal student thinking. This is also referred to as the ASR framework. It is a platform that supports students and teachers by providing reading for depth. It is a digital tool that provides content across subjects with powerful, engaging instruction. So on Actively Learn, they provide assignments with interactive reading and videos for grades 3 through 12. So they do have some videos as well to supplement the readings, and the videos themselves have questions throughout them, kind of like an Ed Puzzle video does. There's also a catalog with thousands of lessons across subjects and genres that can be searched by grade level, topic, author, and or standards. And by the standards, again, we are talking about the TEKS, not adult ed, but they are similar. So you can still find things that would meet our standards. On Actively Learn, you're able to embed questions, notes, and media anywhere in the text, so the student is forced to stop so they think, reflect, and write. So this stops them from just going through the whole thing as quickly as possible. They have to stop and think about the section that they just read about. Students are then able to annotate along the side of the text so they can take notes or they can ask you questions as they go. Students can also share their notes and they can actually have discussions with their peers to see that they can kind of gain understanding with each other, so they have an opportunity there to collaborate. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and look at, I gave a little homework assignment the last time, and a couple of you did it. And we're going to just take a look at the assignment from both the, first we're going to look at it as a student, and then we're going to look at it as a teacher. And before we do that, though, I just want, especially if you are new to Actively Learn, I just want to show you that this is the interface when you first sign in. And so what you're going to see is on the left side, you see content, professional learning. These are my classes that I've created, and then an independent reading catalog. But you're going to notice in the middle, what they've done is they're making recommendations. And these change pretty much daily, so they keep pretty timely on it. So they've got the high interest articles, which I've found very helpful for keeping students interested in reading. But then they've also got other articles, winter holidays, short stories, poetry, and we could go on. And then, of course, you see on the top that we have all these different subjects that we can explore as well. And we can also we can filter them by reading levels as well as standards. But for what we're doing right now, first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go in as a student. So I'm going to switch to student mode. And here's my assignment. The assignment was actively learn why. And what I'm going to see as a student, if you notice over here, I can either hide my peers' notes or I can see them. Up here at the text settings, which we'll probably get into more discussion on this next time, but you'll notice that I can change the spacing, I can change the text size, and this is me as a student. I get to choose how I want this done. I can do open dyslexic, I can change the color, I can put paragraph numbers on or off, or I can just set it to the dyslexic settings. You'll also notice I have notifications from my teacher letting me know I can revise a response as I requested to do. And I can also just from here view the notes, so I can see notes that have been put on here, and I can also search. But you notice on this we have an essential question, and it was how is reading on Actively Learn different from reading on paper? So that's what I was thinking about throughout. I can see here, so this is after it's been graded, basically. So I've already graded everybody's, and normally what I would do is if we're actively in a class, I would be actually grading it while they're working on it so that I can see the learning happening and know if they're going right or wrong. But first thing we had done is we did a poll, and I saw that 85% thought it was difficult for students to read for depth. But then you notice that I can also highlight words. Now my teacher has highlighted this word because my teacher wants me to look a little bit further at it. So in this case, this gets into a little bit more about the idea of complexity. And then that my teacher has also provided me with a link for some more research on it. From here, you see that these questions have been embedded throughout. So the first time that I do the assignment, I can't continue until I answer the questions. And then you'll see the notes here. And then I've asked to, I also put in, because the student can also ask you if they can resubmit, because sometimes they're not happy with their answer. And so that I can do that as well. And then what I was trying to find, there we go. So here I see that my classmate, Janet, has put a note on here, so I can actually reply to her note. So she basically highlighted the text, they read to uncover new ideas and talk about them, and then I'm able to discuss that with her. And one other thing I was going to point out, and then I'm going to stop because I think there's a couple questions that came in. So after I've submitted my answer, because I had a revision request there, I can actually go in and I can see my classmates and what they answered. So I see that Rebecca answered, so I'm going to like her post. And you cannot comment on that, but you can see your students' responses. And I'm going to stop for a second, Anne-Marie, because I think I saw some questions come in.
Yep. Let me see. Well, I know I have one, but let's check and see. Okay, so Gareth asked, I haven't figured out how to really use the students talk to each other electronically part. So that's the first question, kind of comment. And then I asked, what is the dyslexic feature? What is that? Because I don't know if we went over that. Maybe we did. I don't know.
This here, you mean?
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. What does that do? Can you kind of explain that a little bit?
I could show it to you.
Awesome.
Because I just did it. So this is what it does.
Okay.
It completely changes the text. So you know more about stuff like that than I do. So, but that's what it does. It just changes the text completely. And then you can always just go back and restore defaults.
So what it's doing is it's changing the color, it's changing the font, everyone. So it's helping possibly the student with dyslexia to understand what's on the page more. They're approaching this from more of a visual standpoint, but also the auditory option, right? There's an auditory option to read the article. That is going to be extremely helpful for a dyslexic student as well. Or if someone has said they think they may be dyslexic, or maybe you have you may think that maybe there's a specific learning disability going on. So thank you, Ashley. Thank you.
No problem. And also just to point out, the student can also, if they see a word and they highlight over it, they can highlight and take a note. They can hear it, They can have it defined, and they can also translate it into all these different languages. So there's a lot of opportunity for the student to engage in the text itself. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and get out as a student. Now, I also want to just a side note, and I'll talk about what Gareth brought up a little bit. But just a side note, when I do a reading with my students, like if I have it on the board or on the overhead, I always go into student mode so that I'm seeing exactly what they're seeing. Otherwise, you see it from the teacher's view. So I am going to go to the teacher's view now, and we're going to look at the same assignment. Okay, so now what you're seeing when I first go in as a teacher, you're seeing quite a few things. You see again that you still have your text settings that you can change as well. You will get notifications as the students are answering questions. You'll see their questions come in, and then you can go and take a look at them. You will see notes, questions, vocabulary. You can look at everything, just go straight to it. Now the vocabulary, I should probably mention this because that's a little misleading. Vocabulary is a paid feature, so we do not have that. So I'm not going to get into that. But you can see the notes and the questions, and you can search the text. Now the really cool thing is if you go to Edit, and this is what I meant to point out last time, but what I was doing wrong is I wasn't in edit mode. But what I can do is I can send copies to my colleagues. So once you have an account and you've put in your organization, if your colleagues from the same organization do the same thing, they can actually send copies to each other. So right now, if I look, these are all the people from Literacy Council. We've got Gareth there, so we're going to send it to him, even though he already has it, but that's okay. And then I'm able to share hey, this is pretty cool, so I can share it with them too. And, okay, so from there, you also see that you can assign straight from this page if you want to. And then we have the gradings. So on the right side then, you're going to see the questions. And the first one was just the poll that we did. So we're going to go, so you don't grade that. But the second one, I'm able to see, here I can see which ones I've graded. It looks like I'm missing one on question 3. But on question 2, I've graded all of them, and then you see that you have 3 options. So what I find is, when I do this while the students are working and I start grading them, if they don't get to advanced, they will go back and redo it until that they do. So just to kind of look at some of the responses we got to our questions. And the question was, aside from this human tendency to avoid thinking, what are some obstacles to deep understanding that you've encountered? And I can see what people answered. For instance, Janet answered, low confidence can contribute to passive rather than active learning. And then if I want, I can have her revise it. And then I can, of course, provide her feedback and say, that is a great answer. And then she immediately will get a notification from me that I've responded to her. And then you consider. So you go through each question, and it doesn't take very long. I tell you what, this is a lot easier to grade than the old paper version, in my opinion, anyway. Give a specific example of how you could use scaffolding, notes, or embedded media to make text you teach more manageable for students. Well, I go through, and I can look at another person's example. For instance, Patricia said, pictures and videos to assist understanding with vocabulary definitions, because you're able to embed pictures, videos, all sorts of media. I'm going to go ahead and go out of here. And then as the assignment is going on, if I decide all of a sudden, hey, I want to add something to it, even though it's already been assigned, I can go ahead and say I decide I want to, whoops, I have to be in edit mode though. You can always make changes, but you have to be in edit mode. But if I decide I want to add something, I just highlight the text. I can insert a question, a note, a link, or I can even white that section out if I just don't want them to see that section for some reason. So if I insert the question, then I see I have a short answer option, multiple choice, or I can take a poll. I can also base it on standards if I want to, and then I answer the question. It does give me additional options. I can even add media to it if I want to. If I want to add a video or a picture, I can do that as well. And then, like, I added this to it so that the student can kind of have a visual. This I find very handy with students, especially if it's something that they don't know what it is, such as, like, we were reading an older story and it was talking about an old car, so I just grabbed the picture and I embedded it in there so that they could visually see what it was. Okay, and I'm going to pause there. Are there any questions?
Yes, there are two questions.
Okay.
Excellent questions. Gareth asks, did you say that you can lock student advancement in the passage until the student gets it right, or you give them permission? Is that correct?
Can you say that first part again? I didn't understand the first.
Well, I'm going to read it the way Gareth wrote it here.
Okay.
I think that I was trying to paraphrase, and I did very well. Wait, did you say that you can lock student advancement in the passage until the student gets it right, or you give them permission?
I think I know what he's asking, and I'm going to answer this carefully because I'm not entirely sure if I'm comprehending what he's saying. But I think what I said was, if I see that they're at basic, let's say I've answered that their answer is basic, and then I will give them an option to go revise the answer, and they can do it until they get to advanced. But I think he's asking if I can lock it so that they can't continue until they get to advanced. I don't think you can do that. Is that what you're asking?
Yeah, can you clarify, Gareth? Is that what you're asking? Okay, that basically answers it.
Okay.
All right, so then the next question from Gareth, another good one. Does white out leave the text in the original file so you can restore it if necessary, or does it straight delete it?
You can restore it. Well, let's find out. I'm almost 100% confident you can. Like, the reason I like to use it is sometimes, if you import something, there might be page numbers or something, or there's directions on there. And so let's just say I don't want this on here, so I white it out. Oh yeah, you can take it back. You can always just click here, and it restores it. Okay. So it does not completely delete it.
Great question.
Definitely.
So you can take, and Ashley and I were talking about this yesterday. You can take an article, and I'm just saying this for instance, at 7th grade. Okay, if you have an article that's at 7th grade, you may not have all your students reading at 7th grade. Mm-hmm. Okay, looking at the TABE, how they did on the TABE assessments. But what you can do with the whiteout feature is you can simplify the article and then add questions for them. So what you're doing is you're scaffolding the same article for a variety of different students. Is that just not a cool feature, or what? Does everybody agree with that? Can you see how you can use it to simplify an article, and the students all may be working on the same article, but you've differentiated it? Did that make sense? By modifying the article and making it simpler?
Makes sense to me.
So I did see that Raynell and Rebecca have their hands up. Did you have questions? Do you have questions? Okay, all right. I wanted to make sure. And then Janet says, can you differentiate in the free version? Well, this is the free version, right, Ashley?
Yes, we only do the free version.
Okay, so you can use the whiteout use the whiteout feature, Janet, to differentiate. So you can take sections out, add questions, and differentiate the same article, 3 different ways. Does that help? Did that help answer?
I think it did. I'm not sure. Yeah, so this is, I'm glad she brought this up.
Maybe.
We can talk about it later, Janet, if you want. But I'm glad she brought up the free versus the paid version. I'm only showing you the free version. So everything on here is free. And in fact, their paid version is really just focused on like big groups, basically. So they don't even really push it like a lot of products do, and it drives me crazy because I was using one. I'm not going to say which one it was, but I was using one recently, and it just was constantly pulling up something about try our free version. And I'm like, I don't want to, or not our free version, our paid version. So it doesn't really, they don't really push for that, and it is, so every feature on here that you're seeing is on a free account. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and continue, unless there's other questions.
No other questions right now.
Okay, so just based on what you've seen so far, and some of you I know have used this product, how is reading on Actively Learn different from reading on paper? And go ahead and put your answers in the chat box, and Anne-Marie will read them for me.
People are thinking, I think so far. I know it's Friday, guys, but let's...
It looks like there's some coming in now.
Okay, there is? Okay, let me see. I don't see these coming in. Okay, good. One says, the immediate translation is not available on paper.
Good.
Very good.
Very good point.
Oh, very good, Morrow. AL is active engagement.
Absolutely.
Much more interaction, Robert says. Raynell says, I haven't used it. From what I'm seeing, the students can get an immediate response from the teacher and chat with other students. Exactly.
It's very, yeah, exactly. I mean, it's exactly like its title. It's very, very active, which keeps the students much more engaged and thinking, and, you know, that way they're not just reading and not comprehending anything that they just read, which has always been a problem. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and continue. So we're going to look at how to create an account. I know some of you already have one. So if you do have one, you might want to go ahead and sign into your account. And I will demonstrate how to do that for you. So you're going to go to activelylearn.com. We will go to create a free educator account. And it's pretty simple to create an account. You can either sign up with Google or you can enter the information manually. So I am going to go to one that I'm going to make. Okay, so once you're in activelylearn.com, you just have to go to create free educator account. And from here you'll notice that you have different options. I usually like to sign in with Google, but if you don't want, or if you don't have a Google account, you can always do it this way. I'm using a different... You can sign in with your email and then, of course, create a password. And then click on Next. Now, it'll say search for your school. Chances are that your school isn't going to be on here. Mine is because we've gotten everybody using it. But you can request it. And then you put what you are. I'm just going to say I'm a teacher. Grade range. I thought that's where they had. Obviously, we'll just put, and then whatever you teach, you can put in there. How did you hear about us? We're just going to say professional development. And then, oops, I guess you have to put something in there. I was trying to think of a school that might not be on there. Does anybody have a suggestion of their organization? Because otherwise, I could just put mine.
So, Ashley, in order to get your school added, you have to verify that all the teachers are using it? Or
No.
can you just push to have them add it?
No. Do you see right here where it says can't find your school?
Oh, okay.
You can just add it that way, which I think that's so nice. Yeah, I know, because almost no other tool that I've used does that. So I was able to add it, and then everybody who joined it afterwards could do the same thing. So if your school is not on there, or your organization, you can just put can't find your school and add it, and I think I just saw that somebody said they just added Navarro College.
Yeah.
So yay.
Go, Kelly, go. That's awesome.
You can also change the school if you need to, and then get started. And right away, once you're in, they want you to basically experience it, so they have you experience it as a student, and this is kind of a fun little article. I actually did this one in class, how a self-driving car sees the world. And you see that, again, they've highlighted certain things. Model T, I guarantee my students don't know what a Model T is, so here's a nice little picture of it. And you see they've made this very visual, they've added a GIF to it, and then, the little question at the end that you submit. So they give you that opportunity just to kind of see what it's like as a student. All right, let me get out of here. All right, I'm going to pause for a second just to see where everybody is at.
And I put the email address in the chat pod, so hopefully everybody saw it. I can grab it again. What would you like them to do? Put a thumbs up when they...
Yeah, just give me an idea if they're in or if they've already created the account.
Okay. In. So Janet says she's in.
Yay.
Or you can also raise your hand, too, if that's easier. And then raise your hand, or... Okay. Okay, Gareth's hand's up. Janet's in. Okay. How's everyone else doing? Shara's in. Thank you.
Great.
Okay, go ahead and put your hands down if you're in. That way I know we don't have a question. Thank you. Okay, hopefully Robert's in. All right, okay.
Okay. All right, I'm going to go ahead and continue then. So now we're going to look at how to find pre-made lessons. So the really nice thing about Actively Learn is you don't have to use your own material, but you can. But it's nice because they already have lessons already made that already have the questions or the features embedded into them. And if you don't like the way they are, you can add your own, take theirs off. There's just a lot of freedom. So we're going to go ahead and take a look at, I will model how to find, save, and edit pre-made lessons. And then after I model, I would like you to go explore the catalog on your own and find some of your own. So let me get back in here. So I'm just going to go ahead and stay on this new account that I just created because that way everything's kind of fresh. So you'll notice that, and it's walking me through, I figured also, so it's probably good timing there. So you'll notice you can search for specific texts or videos by title, author, or topic. And a side note about that is if you have something in mind that you want and you don't find it on Actively Learn, there's a couple of workarounds with that. You can request it from them and they will contact the publisher and see if they can get it added, and they usually respond very quickly. But also that's where if you have your own copy of it, you can import your own. Or if you know of a website link that has it, you can import that as well. But we'll be talking about importing more in the next session. Like I said, you can import internet articles, Google Docs, or PDFs and turn them into interactive reading assignments. But what I'm going to do, so again, a lot of times when I log in, I just look at this first page because they usually have interesting things on there, and it's pretty quick, easy way, especially if I'm in a hurry. Or if maybe all of a sudden I have to sub for somebody and I need a quick lesson, this is a great resource to use. But you notice that I can search, so I could search for, maybe I want to find something by, let's say, Ray Bradbury. And right off the bat, I can see that we have Ray Bradbury. In fact, The Sound of Thunder just got put on there. And so I click on it, and I've got my teacher's directions, and I see that right off the bat, they've already got a poll ready for me. They've got pictures ready for me, so I don't have to do any extra work. But then if I don't want it, I can also remove it. But right now, what I'm going to do is I can automatically assign it if I want to. Or if you do want to change it, you need to add it to your workspace. So I'm going to put a star there. And once I have a star there, I can go back to my workspace. And it's not there. Hold on. There it is. It's there now. But it also tells me how many pages, the grade level, and the number of questions and notes that are on there. But if I don't want to just do a search, maybe I just want to go and explore. So I'm going to look at a reading level. I'm going to pick 7th through 8th. I'm going to go ahead and choose a standard. And I think I'm going to do point of view. And then right off the bat, it's already pulling articles for me based on just those things. But maybe I want to take it, a step further. So I'm going to go find something specific under language arts. I'm going to do a speech. So now I've got it based on grade level, standard, and point of view, and also I've got a couple speech options that I might want to use, and then I can see it's already made for me, ready to go. So you also see that we've got primary sources, so we've got the Malcolm X, which might be something we might want to use with our students. All right, I'm going to stop for a second. Are there questions on finding and searching?
I don't see any questions. Let's wait a minute and see.
Okay.
Let's just keep going, and then if I may jump in if there's a pause, if there's a question.
Okay. Because really overall, Actively Learn is not a super difficult website to learn compared to other ones that we've done on Tech and Tells, to be honest. So, I mean, it's pretty, like I said last time, even if you don't know how to do every single thing, you don't have to, and you can still use it pretty easily, because I learned a whole bunch of things just yesterday that I didn't even realize until then. But what I'd like everybody to do, and Anne-Marie, if we can put that link into the chat pod, is to explore the catalog. Just take, maybe 5 minutes and go explore and see if you can find something that maybe you could use in your own class, or if you don't have a class, maybe somebody else could use it. And go ahead and play around with the filters, choose a grade level, a standard, and a subject. And after you find something, just kind of share with us in the chat pod what you found and maybe what you liked or might want to change. And then I guess afterwards, just if they share it in the chat pod, and then we'll know that they're done with that activity.
What I can do is, it is 12:25 right now, everybody. So let's go until, what do you think, 12:30? Give them until 12:30. Okay. And I wish I had music, but we have no music. So just
Can you put? I don't seem to know how to put myself on mute from here. Hold on. Oh wait. Just for a second.
I can.
I see it.
Oh. Okay, Ray. Now we're not talking right now because we're exploring. I knew that was going to happen. We're going to explore until 12:30, so another 3 minutes. Okay. So the reason that we're not talking is that you guys should be out exploring. Were you able to get in? All right. And explore and find something from the library or the catalog, I should say. Let me put that back in here again. I'll put the link back in here again in the chat pod. Yeah, this is one of those exploratory moments right now. So, okay. Okay, let me try. Okay, good, Raynell. Go ahead and try and see how it works.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, she says she's trying. And Maro, did you find something? Go ahead and post it in the chat pod if you found something. I see that Gareth has already found one and posted it in the chat pod. Okay, good, Raynell, good. How's everybody else doing? We've got a bunch of people that are on, so how are you doing? And let us know, and then just share in the chat pod. And if you have a question, Ashley's here, so go ahead and ask. Thanksgiving turkey doesn't make you sleepy. It depends. What is it in turkey again that makes you sleepy? I can't remember. Tryptophan. Something like that with a T. Ancient Indian morality game like Chutes and Ladders. Oh my goodness.
That's interesting.
We call it the itis.
Huh.
The itis.
Just makes you want to read them all.
Okay, so it's 1 more minute. How long do you want to go, Ashley? Another 2 minutes or so?
Yeah, that's fine.
It's up to you.
Yeah,
You tell me.
Okay. Let's go to 12:31.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Robert. This looks good. History versus Columbus. Ooh. Very nice.
Yay. Raynell says she's in love. That makes me so happy.
Yep. That is so good. Very good.
Okay, it is 12:31, so I just wanted everybody to have an opportunity to explore the catalog, see that it is pretty easy to find material, and not just find material, but it's pretty good stuff, especially the stuff they recommend. Like I said the last time, it was just so fun because, you know, I had my ABE class, and I said, okay, which one do you want to read, this one or this one? And they got so excited they wanted to read both of them. And I thought, well, that's a good sign. So anytime they want to read something, I'm happy. Okay, so we're going to continue. We're now going to look at how to create and upload your own lessons. So if you find that you can't find something and you want to do and you want to bring in your own, it's pretty easy to do that as well. So I'm going to demonstrate this for you as well. So I will pull that up. I'm going to go back to that new account. Okay, so you'll notice on Actively Learn that on your main screen you'll see an orange tab that says My Imports. And I believe you can do 3 of these for free a month. And right now I don't have anything in this particular one, obviously, so I'm going to look at my 4 options. So my options are, I can import an internet article, I can import a Google Doc, I can upload a PDF, or, this I didn't know until 2 days ago, I can create a quiz, which I did not know that was on there. So that's kind of a nice little tool in itself. So to import the internet article, you're going to click on Import Internet Article, and I have one picked out over here. Let me just grab it. So I decided to grab one from the website called Wonderopolis. It's a website I constantly forget about, but they have a lot of cool stuff on there. And also, they play very well with Actively Learn. I believe Actively Learn pulls a lot of their articles from that website, from what I've read. And then I click on Next. And then I choose what type of article it is. This one is about what is ham radio. I'm going to say that's informational, and then I'm done. And then it is importing my article for me. It doesn't like my web browser. Okay, so let me do it from the other one. So, nope, it does. It took it. Okay. I thought maybe it didn't like it because I don't usually use Firefox. And then here you see I've got my new article, and it just took a matter of moments, really. And now it's trying to show me how I can customize it. I can add directions if I want to. This is 100% mine now. I get to do whatever I want to with it. Now that I've imported it, I can add a pre-reading question. You could even add, like here, you might want to just say, what is this? What do you think this is? Because I guarantee our students won't have a clue. A lot of them won't anyway. So that's the first option. My next option is I'm going to import a Google Doc. So go to Import Google Doc, and as soon as it catches up to me, I had one picked up. I thought it was signed in already, I guess not. And so it's just going to direct you over to Google. And this one I already had set up, so I'm going to import this one called Portable Phonograph, and I'm going to put the author's name. And then this one is a literature, so I'm just going to add that. And then I add my text, and within moments, there it is. And then the third way is you can, of course, upload a PDF. So if you have something already on your desktop, they do point out, so this is interesting too, so they do point out if it's more than 10 pages, they recommend trying to turn it into a Google Doc first because it makes it easier to add. But I don't know if you want more than 10 pages. I'm not sure. I mean, that everybody has their own thing. I did, just to try it out earlier, I imported a 64-page one because I just wanted to know how much I could do, and it let me do that much. So I'm going to import the scientific method, and I do not know the author on that one, so I'm probably going to have to make something up because I don't think it has an author. It's just an informational. And then, again, within moments, I've got the scientific method, and there it is. And now from there, I can add content as I want to, add questions as I go. Questions and comments.
No questions or comments, but we did have 2 people that were not able to share what they found. Hortensia and Rebecca had difficulty grabbing. So
You mean the link?
Yeah.
That's
Well,
okay.
they found something and then they weren't sure. So, but Rebecca Hortensia, let me just ask you this: you you were able to get to the catalog, though, correct? And actually find things that you could use in your classroom. Okay, good. I think that's the most important thing. Um,
Really, I just wanted you to tell me what you found. You didn't have to share the link because I don't even think we can go to the link that way. So if I was just interested in just subjects or articles, so that's okay. No worries there.
and there were no other questions right
Okay.
now.
And then I'm also going to show, and I've never used this, like I said, I just saw this the other day. So sometimes, just sitting there and exploring, you can learn quite a few things. So creating a quiz, obviously this is just a sample. What kind of content is it? Well, maybe I want to do a quiz about the scientific method, since we just did that. So now I go into it, and I am able to add the same types of questions that I can on the text that we do. So it's basically the same thing, but it's just a separate quiz. Like I said, I have not used that yet, but it's just kind of nice I always like to have different tools for making quizzes because I like to use as many things as I can to, kind of shake it up a little bit. Okay, so what I want you guys to do now is I would like you to go ahead and explore the creating your own feature. Again, you'll just go to Actively Learn. You should all be on there anyway. And you'll go to My Imports, click on Add Content, and then just create any of the following. If you already have something on your desktop that maybe you want to just try out, you can do that, or import a Google Doc, or import just straight from the internet, which you saw that each one of these things was incredibly easy to do.
Ashley, we're at 6 minutes. 6 minutes. It's 12:39.
Okay. So maybe just take a couple, 2 minutes just to try it out, do you think?
I think that would be good, and they just
Okay.
go to, can you walk them through again?
Yes.
Just go over the instructions again. I
Yes.
put the link in there, too, to get to Actively Learn again, just in case.
So, yes, okay. Let me get back out here. What you will do is you will go to, I get to the right place here. Click on Content whenever you want to go back, and you click on My Imports and Add Content. I'm going to leave the screen right there. And then you get to choose whichever one you want to do.
So everybody stop at about 12:42, do you think? 12:42, would that be good?
Yes, 12:42
Okay.
will be fine.
Okay. So everybody 12:42, and then we'll wrap up and make sure that we end at 12:45. And thanks to everybody that stayed. We have a huge group in here, so thank you so much for staying over the time. And you won't hear any talking right now, just to let everybody know. We're still exploring, so don't be alarmed if you didn't hear any talking.
Okay, it looks like we are at 12:42, so I do want to get through this last little section. So we're going to move on. Of course, you can always, if you have any problems, you can always send me an email. I'd be happy to help. The last thing we're going to look at is creating classes and assigning lessons. So to do that, and I will demonstrate this as well, just get back into my Actively Learn. So when I am in my content, you will see right here it says classes. If you want to add a new class, you just click on the plus sign. And you have options. If you are a Google Classroom user, you can simply import courses. And when you click on it, you'll see it says getting your classes from Google. Well, you notice I have a lot of classes from Google. So I'm just going to go ahead and import Literacy Council's Professional Development. It's just going to take a few seconds, and boom, there we are. We have everybody in there. And the one thing I would say, though, is if you are like us, we have new students come in monthly, you do need to sync the class with Classroom when you get new students so that it keeps it refreshed. And otherwise, if you want to create a class on your own, say new class, you can select, oh, look at there, Adult Learners. We've made it somewhere. Okay, so we click on Adult Learners, and I add the class, and there it is. And then from there, for this one, you have to invite your students, and all the students have to do is go to activelylearn.com and use this code. Once they have this code, they're able to get into your class. Now, for the Google Classrooms, Teachers, they just have to go to Google Classroom, and it takes them straight there because they already have an account because we've already set them up. You can also see from here the roster. Obviously, I don't have any students in this one yet. Let me go back to the Tech Intel one. So you see on here, I can invite my students. Like I said, they go to activelylearn.com, enter the code. You can restore, never merge student accounts, but if they have more than one. And then this is where I see my assignments, and then I have a gradebook section. You notice I can't do everything because that's a paid feature, but I can see how everybody's doing. So I can see that Janet is at 100%, Rebecca's at 100%, and Garrett's at 100%. So that just gives you kind of a quick overview, and also it keeps all your assignments together so you can actually see an average of everything that the student has done on Actively Learn. And I do believe I am out of time. So, are there any questions? I had to go through that last part pretty quickly.
Actually, Raynell says, is there a way to track the time on the computer? Raynell, I'm going to jump in here and just kind of ask, if this is not, and I'm not sure why you're asking, but just in case you're wondering for distance learning, this is not an approved distance learning curriculum, okay? This can be used as a homework option, but you can't count any time as proxy, okay? This is not an approved distance learning curriculum through TWC, so I hope that answers that question, okay? I would encourage you to, to use this as homework, but I think as Ashley's demonstrated, it's really the best option is be doing this in the classroom with the students during direct instruction, so it can be engaged in the classroom. So I hope that helped. Okay, good. Okay. All right. Any other questions? Oh, it's a great question, by the way, Renelle, so thank you. All right. Well, I want to thank everybody for joining us on a Friday and going over. And I also want to thank Ashley for another excellent webinar. And this outline of her PowerPoint will be available inside the PD portal when it becomes a course. And so you can stay tuned for that. And I want to give Ashley an opportunity to say thank you and goodbye to everybody. And Ashley, wonderful job, and thank you so much.
Thank you, and yes, thank you everybody for coming. I'm really excited to get to share this. I just feel like I need like 5 hours, but hopefully we were able to cover everything. And like I said, if you have any questions at all, feel free to reach out to me, and I'd be happy to help.
And you know what? Eric just reminded me, thank you so much. Registration is available in the PD portal right now for December 14th for Part 3, and we will be tag teaming that Tech Intel, which we are really excited about. So hopefully everybody will be on with us. So at this time, I want to say happy fall to everyone and a happy Thanksgiving to everyone. Have a wonderful time with your family and your friends, and stay safe, everybody. And we will see you next time on Tech Intel. Thank you so much, everybody.